Your doctor has been failing you, not out of cruelty, not out of incompetence, but because there are conversations medicine has been too uncomfortable to have with older men. Conversations that directly affect your prostate, your hormones, your heart, your sleep, and your sense of yourself. And that silence is costing men their health, their confidence, and years of quality life. I'm done being quiet about it. Here's something most men over 60 have never been told. The way you've been thinking about self-pleasure, whether to feel ashamed of it, whether to stop it entirely, whether it even belongs in your life anymore, may be one of the most medically significant decisions you're making right now. And most men are getting it wrong, not because they're careless, but because nobody ever gave them the truth. Today, that changes. My name is Dr. Asia Onabanjo, a urologist who has spent years helping men understand their bodies without shame. And today I'm sharing 7 things older men wish someone had told them decades ago. These 7 things will change how you understand your prostate, your hormones, your brain, and your body's ability to stay vital well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Before we go 1 second further, if you believe men deserve honest, shame-free health conversations, hit that like button right now, subscribe to this channel, and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I read every single one. I've sat across from men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s. Men who came in not because something was medically broken, but because no one had ever just talked to them directly, without embarrassment, about what their body is going through and what it still needs. This is that conversation. Stay until the end, because secret number 4 contains a clinical fact about the male body that most doctors never mention, and it may be the most important thing you hear today. Secret number 1. The way most men have been doing this for decades is quietly damaging their sensitivity, and almost nobody talks about it. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time this felt genuinely good? Not just functional, not just habit, but actually good, present, connected, alive? For most men, the honest answer is it's been a while. I had a patient, I'll call him George, 71 years old, sharp, healthy, active. He told me, "Doc, I can still finish, but I feel almost nothing anymore. It's like my body is going through the motions, but nobody's home." George wasn't broken. His nervous system had simply been trained the wrong way for 30 years. Here's what happens biologically. When self-pleasure becomes purely mechanical, same technique, same pressure, same rushed goal, the brain locks that pattern in as the only reliable pathway to response. Over time, sensitivity drops. Nerve endings that respond to lighter, natural touch become underactive, and the body starts needing more stimulation just to feel the same thing. This is called desensitization, and it happens quietly over years, until one day a man realizes he feels less than he used to and assumes it's just age. It isn't just age, and it isn't permanent. The recovery is simpler than you'd expect. Slow down. Remove the goal of speed. Return to sensation. Your nervous system can retrain at 65, at 72, at 78. But the men who stopped entirely, thinking they were being sensible, may be doing even more damage. And that's secret number 2. Stopping completely is not the safe option. Your prostate is paying the price right now. Think of a pressure cooker, heat and steam building with no release valve. Eventually, something gives. Your prostate works on a similar principle. I had a patient named Raymond, 68 years old, waking 4 times a night to urinate, persistent pelvic pressure, a dull ache that never went away. 2 other doctors told him it was just normal aging. When I asked about his sexual activity, he went quiet, then said, "I figured at my age that part of life was supposed to be finished." Here's what Raymond didn't know, and what I suspect your doctor has never told you. Your prostate produces fluid continuously, regardless of age or activity level. When that fluid isn't regularly released, it accumulates, leading to congestion, inflammation, pressure, and exactly the symptoms Raymond described. Research in peer-reviewed urology literature shows men who maintain regular ejaculation have significantly lower rates of prostate inflammation than sexually inactive men. Your prostate is not a passive organ in retirement. After Raymond made gradual changes, not driven by desire, but by care for his own body, his symptoms eased within weeks. 3 months later, he said, "I feel 20 years younger." You wouldn't let your heart go unexercised because you thought you were too old to care for it. Your prostate deserves the same respect. And the shame you were taught as a boy isn't just emotional weight, It's physically harming your body right now. Secret number 3. The shame you were handed as a boy is a health hazard, and carrying it into old age is making you sick. Think back to the first time you felt ashamed of your body's natural drives. 10 years old? 12? How many decades have you carried that silently? I see it every week. Men in their 70s who still lower their voice on this topic, who look at the floor, who apologize for having a body that works the way bodies work. Here's what that shame is doing to you medically. Shame is not just an emotion, it's a physiological state. Chronic shame keeps your nervous system locked in a low-grade stress response. Cortisol stays elevated, blood pressure climbs, sleep becomes shallow, and over years that contributes to cardiovascular strain, immune dysfunction, and accelerated cognitive aging. Meanwhile, healthy sexual activity triggers dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, your body's own pharmacy, and shame is what keeps that pharmacy locked. I had a patient, a 74-year-old widower, who said, "I feel dim, doc, like the lights are turned down." We worked slowly, through honest conversation and the gradual release of shame he'd carried since boyhood. A few months later, he called and said, "I laugh now. The lights came back on." You are never too old to inhabit your body with kindness. If what I'm sharing is opening something up for you, subscribe right now. This is exactly the kind of honest, science-based conversation I have every week. Let's keep going. Secret number 4, the one I promised you. Here's the clinical fact about your body that almost no doctor ever mentions, and it changes everything. Orgasm and erection are two completely separate biological systems. They are not the same thing, and they do not depend on each other. The neurological event, the full body release, does not require an erection. These are controlled by different nerve pathways and different parts of the brain entirely. Most men over 60 do not know this. They believe that because their erections have become less reliable, which is completely normal and affects the majority of men in their 60s and 70s, that entire chapter of life is closed. It is not closed. That experience remains available to most men right now, regardless of erectile function. This single piece of information has changed more lives in my practice than almost anything else I've told a patient. Men who had written off an entire dimension of their health simply because no one had ever explained how their body actually works. Secret number 5. When you disengage from your sexual energy, your body interprets it as a signal and starts shutting systems down. Your body is the most efficient system ever designed. Whatever you stop using, it begins to decommission. When you disengage entirely, your brain receives what I call the retirement signal, and in response, the hypothalamus slowly reduces its output of the hormones that drive testosterone production until a man who was once vital finds himself feeling flat, unmotivated, soft around the edges, and assumes it's just age. I treated a patient I'll call Thomas, 73, retired, fit, sharp, who told me, "I used to get fired up. Now I just watch other people live." His testosterone was well below optimal range. We worked on sleep, movement, nutrition, and intentionally re-engaging with his own body. Months later, he said, "I showed back up. I don't know how else to describe it." Sexual energy in older men isn't vanity. It's one of the biological signals telling your body it's still alive and engaged. Secret number 6, use it or lose it, is not a motivational phrase. It's a physiological law, and the clock is running. If you stopped walking for 2 years, your muscles would atrophy, your circulation would weaken, your joints would stiffen, and getting back to full function could be incomplete. The same law applies here, and in medicine, this is not debated. Regular erections, whether through intimacy or self-pleasure, flood penile tissue with oxygenated blood, keep smooth, muscle elastic, and maintain the responsiveness of blood vessels and nerve pathways. Without regular circulation, tissue changes, blood vessels become less responsive, nerve sensitivity decreases, and some of those changes, left to progress for years, are not fully reversible. Treat this with the same seriousness you'd treat your blood pressure or cholesterol, because physiologically, it belongs in the same category. Secret number 7, done with intention and presence. This is one of the most powerful health practices available to older men, and the science backs it. Mindful self-pleasure, slow, present, without pressure or shame, produces measurable changes in your cardiovascular system, immune function, inflammatory markers, and neurological health. Breathing slows and deepens, activating your parasympathetic nervous system, your body's repair mode. Heart rate stabilizes, cortisol drops, oxytocin is released, inflammation lowers, blood pressure drops, and dopamine improves mood, cognitive clarity, and sleep architecture. Research on older men who maintain regular sexual activity consistently shows better sleep quality, stronger immune response, lower rates of depression, and higher overall well-being. I had a patient, 77, a grandfather of 6, who described himself as fading. He said, "I spent 30 years feeling guilty about something my body needed, then 10 more years wondering why I felt half dead. I wish someone had told me sooner that taking care of yourself includes all of yourself." He is not fading anymore. So here is the practical framework. 5 steps you can start today. First, release the shame right now, not gradually. You were handed a lie as a child about your own body, and you don't have to carry it one more day. Second, slow down and return to presence, removing speed and pressure, reconnecting with sensation instead of performance. Third, if certain content has made natural sensation feel flat, step away for 4 to 6 weeks and let your brain's reward system recalibrate. Most men are genuinely surprised by what returns. Fourth, be consistent, not excessive, keeping your prostate healthy, your blood flow active, your nerve pathways responsive. Fifth, talk to your doctor, especially if you have prostate conditions, cardiovascular concerns, or medications affecting sexual function. What I've shared here is health education, and your physician knows your specific situation. I want to speak to you directly now, doctor to patient. You are not too old. You are not past the point where your body matters. The men who come into my office feeling invisible, feeling like the best of themselves is behind them, they aren't describing biology. They're describing the weight of information they were never given, conversations that were never had, a culture that told them to stay silent about their own bodies and left them to live with the consequences. That is not your fault, and it is not your fate. Your body has carried you here through everything, and it is still working for you right now, still adapting, still responding, still capable of more than you've been told. The least you can do is meet it halfway. You don't have to disappear quietly. You are allowed to feel alive, fully, unapologetically, at 65, at 73, at 80, and beyond. If something in this video reached you today, if a door opened that's been shut for a long time, leave one word in the comments: alive. Just that, so I know this found you. Subscribe for more honest conversations like this one. Share it with a man in your life who needed to hear it and never did. Somewhere out there is a man who needed this video 5 years ago. You might be the reason it finds him.